Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. It is time once more for those Friday Obscurities in Literature. And today we have a new book, or at least relatively new to me at least, from Hobby Japan. Hobby Japan being the big flagship hobby magazine of, well, Japan. But also a publisher of many really well-made art books. And that's what we've got today. This is Masayuki Gotoh's Tsubaraya Artworks Generator. And you can see on the cover, we've got Belial and Zero here. If you're not familiar, these are two of the big, important Ultraman series of the new millennium. And what this book is much like the companion series volumes. There's no actual, series. But we do have quite a few of these books now from Hobby Japan, chronicling a lot of the design works that have gone into the live action, superhero, sci-fi shows, be they TV, movie, stage, video game, you name it, they got the designs in here. So let's just jump straight into it. So first of all, you can see we've got some very specific years, and then we've got a breakdown of everything that is going to be included. Well over 250 pages worth of that. We've got the Gridman stuff. We have all of the, oh god, I forget the name for the new, not Heisei, Reiwa, right? Reiwa is the new stuff. New generation of Ultraman. And we just jumped straight into it, and there are some very fun... I don't even know what some of this stuff is. I don't even remember anymore. But going through that with my son, who is a absolute, really big Ultraman fan, he's like, oh, this is from this production. This was like an OVA that was only released with a magazine in the year blah, blah. Okay, I kid somewhat, but yeah. That's where a lot of these designs are going to come from. So some of them may be familiar, some of them not so much. Some of them had kaiju, Sofubi, vinyl figures designed of them. Some of them did not. But it is kind of cool just to see the origins of a lot of that artwork. And for those of you who like a lot of the background stuff, Mr. Gotoh Masayuki here actually did do a lot of work early on with the backgrounds, animation, and kind of design work outside of the characters, as well as, obviously, the characters themselves. Let's see Ultraman Zero here in his original form with his Tector armor. Tector gear, that's what it was called. You can hear roosters crowing outside. That is absolutely bizarre. Ultraman Belial. Now this is kind of neat. We get to see a lot of the early designs for the actions of how Zero is going to fight with his weapons. Some of that stuff may have actually gotten into the movie. Some of it may not have. Human designs. And if you are interested, I want to say that a lot of these are available in the English-speaking world on Blu-ray for relatively reasonably decent prices, and often include a whole variety of episodes, movies, and say what you will, but I still feel like our friend right here, Mecha was somewhat of an influence in the design of some of Piper Mechs models. It may not be the case, but I always felt it was. I guess this figure's kind of expensive these days, but I had the original. I got a lot of the figures in here, actually. Mecha Gomora. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's a figure I'm looking at, if it's a costume, if it's a CG render, if it's a toy. Updates for Great Fire. The Mirror Knight. Again, some of the ideas on how the attacks would look. Zambot. Jumbot, not Zambot. I'm thinking Zambot 3, but it's supposed to be a takeoff or a modern update of Jumborg Ace. Some of the designs of Belial. Arc Belial. One of my favorite kaiju designs. I still have the DX that was in a boxed set that I got my son one year. It was too big for him, and he decided he was going to let it eventually reside with me at work. And I'm happy about that. So one of the nice things is, besides a lot of these designs, we've got mechs, we've got ships, we've got aliens, we've got costumes. We do have some actual just straight up artwork in here too, which I believe some of this is just kind of early storyboarding. Some of this is also actually card art for some of the various card games that Tsubaraya has released over the years, which there have been quite a few kaiju-related ones. Ultraman Ginga. I'm not even sure which Ultraman this is anymore. I remember these things. Again, so you get a really nice variety in this book. And I gotta say, that's one of the things that I've always appreciated with these Hobby Japan books in this series of designs. Ultraman X and all his forms here. Some of these Ultramen have a lot of forms. Some of these, also what's really neat is, X had these cyborg upgrades and ended up having a cyber Gomora that would tag along and fight with him. He also had weapons based on various other kaiju, and I do not recall most of these kaiju, like Cyber Eleking here, ever having any kind of actual costume made. Cyber Zeton, Cyber Bemstar. I think those are from a movie, if I remember correctly. Griza, I think, was the final episode kaiju who went through a bunch of different forms. Let's see here, some of them. As well as some of the rejected forms. That's kind of neat to see. I don't remember X with a cape. I think that was from the prequel OVA series. Again, just all kinds of stuff in here. Orb. Jeed, Skull Gomora, and all the Chimera Belial. Jeed had some neat stuff, I thought. Taiga. I mean, I'm skipping. That's okay. Some of these guys get very busy outfits. And Zet. I mean, obviously, some of this stuff is going to be majorly spoilery if you are interested in watching some of these shows to a degree. Ultraman Decker. His weird tail thing. I really like this thing's design, and I hated the figures they made of it. The Mother's Spherosaurus was pretty cool. I do have that one. Blazer. Now we're getting into what look to be kaiju from some of the various card games, of which are quite a few. Gridman designs, Dynazenon. I do have that figure that Good Smile made. It's quite nice. Bakushim, I have that one, and the Mecha Balton here. Andro the Killer Mecha Baltan, because it was from Andromelos. And then in the back here, like I said, we've got like actual full-on illustrations for some of the various card games. So there's just a lot of fun to be had here, especially if you're a fan of this stuff, if you're familiar with it. Definitely some familiar faces in this book. So there you go. Like I said, a lot of fun to be had if you're a fan of these types of works. I think the only real downside is the price tag of 4,400 yen and the size and heft of it. That could be an issue if you're shipping internationally. If you're like me and you get lucky and you find it at a place like Mandarake, Tsubaraya, Book Off, any of those type stores, you can probably net yourself a pretty good deal. So good luck in that regard. And with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.